Weisz, Horrorthriller CINEMA-Magazin. The movie is called The Favorite, and the director, Yorgos Lanthimos. Congratulations on the movie. What was your own knowledge about Queen Anne before you stepped in front of the cameras to make this movie?
None. Well, initially none. But I came across this story from Deborah Davis's original script about these three women, and I was immediately intrigued in trying to explore and create three female characters that you rarely see in cinema. Of course, we did research at that point, but very early on we decided that we would keep whatever felt right for the film we were trying to make and the story we were trying to tell, that dealt with human beings and their relationships, but also human beings that are in such a position that they're able to affect the lives and fate of many other human beings. So it felt like a complex world that we could create.
One of the challenges, obviously, for filmmakers when you do a period piece is recreating the authenticity of the time. How intriguing was that for you to have to worry about locations and costumes and speech and hair?
Well, that was one of the other reasons that I felt that this would be an interesting project to take on. And what we did was not worry so much about being loyal to the period, but creating again, visually and sound-wise, a world that felt quite contemporary and relevant to today. So what we did, we stayed loyal to certain things, and then we tried to infuse the film with many other layers of contemporary texture, like even from the dialogue in the script, which feels quite contemporary, and we never tried to make the characters sound like what we imagined they sounded like back in the day, from using contemporary fabrics for the costumes, although the costumes were loyal to the shape that the costumes had of the period. The way that people behave, dance, the music sometimes is contemporary. So we used all these different elements that contradict the accuracy of the period in a subtle way.
Watching the movie, at some point, I guess I got intrigued because I thought, when films have explored homosexuality in some capacity, it's usually in a contemporary setting.
Yeah.
And we think, 300-400 years ago, oh no, nobody was gay. And so it was a fascinating examination about how people use sexuality during these times.
Yeah. Well, what we did was, I never saw it as exploring homosexuality or anything like that. For me, it was just a story about three human beings, and that's how I tried to structure it. And there was never a second thought about how would they be seen at that period or today, or what did it mean for that period. For me, it was just a story that included a romantic relationship, that included relationships of power, friendship. So for me, from the beginning, it was to not make a big point of the fact that there are relationships of the same, sex within the film. It was just human beings behaving badly or amazingly or any other way.
One of the interesting attributes for you as a filmmaker is your originality, that sometimes with the work that you've done with Lobster and with Killing the Sacred Deer, there's a sense of, especially for the audience, of challenging them intellectually and emotionally. This is a little more straight and narrow and down the path. Can you talk about creatively to veer and do something different like this? How interesting was that for you?
Well, I wouldn't do it if I didn't find it interesting. I think it's that was the goal from the beginning, that I would do something slightly different, just because I happened to be interested in this story and in making a period film. But I think at the same time, I found myself working in exactly the same way that I worked in my previous films, or even more rigorously, because this film, the script took 9 years to complete. Not that we were working 9 years consecutively, but with breaks in between and other projects and other films that happened, I did live with this film for many years, so it became very similar, and I worked on it in a very similar way that I have worked on all of my other films.
Well, Yorgos, congratulations. The movie was terrific and funny. Really,
Yeah,
really
thanks.
funny. So, congratulations. And this is Scott Orland. Till next time.